I usually like to start with is the dumbbell bench press. Now dumbbells, right? I work more with dumbbells in the past couple years because, I had a shoulder injury back in 2023. And it took a long time for my shoulder to get, and that's typically with most shoulder injuries. Unfortunately, it's one of the easiest muscle groups to hurt because essentially what happens is like your shoulder is one of the most free rotating, it's one of the most free moving body parts. So it becomes easy to hurt if you're not careful. And I had to take a little bit of time off the gym, but I also had to sort of repurpose what it is that I've been doing that requires a little bit of shoulder. So bench press, of course, when you do chest, it activates your triceps as well, but you also activate some of your delts. On the long bar, I'll do my light stuff, but on the dumbbells, that's where my heavier stuff comes in. What I try to do is 4 exercises per muscle group, and the second exercise I'll go do, if I can get into it, is the flies. Okay, whether they're on the bench laying down, or they're standing, or they're sitting down on the machine and doing flies, right? If I can't get on that to do flies, then what I'll usually do is I'll just get the freestanding cable machines, and then I'll just bend over and sort of at the waist a little bit, and just kind of bend forward, and I'll bring the cables down here. I'll do one of those ones. Because those I can usually get. Number 3, I try to get a machine where it's just, it's just a bench press, right? You just put your back against the pad or whatever, and then you set the weights, right? And you just put your hands on the handles and you just push out. That's usually what I try to do. Or if it's one of the machines where you actually grab plates and stack them, I'll do those too. So it just depends on which one is available at that moment. But the 4th exercise I try to do for chest, and I try to finish this out, right, as sort of like a little, like a chest killer in a sense, so to speak, is some push-ups. Can't get any more original than that, right? Push-ups is probably one of the best things that you can do to end your chest workout after you've already killed it with weights, be it cables, dumbbells, or, barbells, free weights, whatever. You know what I'm saying? After all that resistance, one of the best ways to kill your chest is doing push-ups. Never neglect push-ups. They always work. Okay, it's classic. They exist. They've been around a long time. They're there for a reason. So, I always try to do push-ups after I'm done.